Have you ever had that feeling, that quiet, nagging sense that something's missing? It's not some big crisis, it's more like a flatness. You're doing all the things you're supposed to do, but the satisfaction just doesn't stick around for long. If any of that sounds familiar, trust me, you are not alone. So let's get into it. Let's break down this strange emptiness that so many of us are feeling in modern life. Wow, this quote from a recent Harvard study just hits, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that feeling of being stuck on a treadmill. Your life looks totally fine from the outside, but on the inside it feels hollow. It's that quiet sense that your own life is just background noise. And get this, it's not just a vague feeling. The data really backs this up. That same study, it found that a staggering 58% of young adults say they have little or no purpose in their lives. So what you might be feeling isn't you being ungrateful or lazy. It's a huge, widespread experience.
Okay, so this is absolutely crucial. That feeling of emptiness, it's not a sign that you're broken. It's a signal. It's your brain and body responding to a world that has completely changed how we work, how we experience reward, and even how we see ourselves. To really figure out what's going on, we've got to look at three major forces at play.
First up, our relationship with our jobs. It has gone through this massive and, frankly, exhausting transformation. The old rules are out the window, and the new ones are, well, they're incredibly demanding. So check out this slide. It shows the shift perfectly. We used to have what's called the industrious work ethic. Work was a moral duty. You showed up, you did your tasks, you persevered. Simple. But now, we're in the entrepreneurial work ethic. And here, it is not enough to just work hard. Oh no, your work must be your passion. It has to be the main way you achieve self-realization. You're supposed to be an innovator, a creator. You have to love what you do. And that's the thing. This new work ethic piles a huge psychological burden on top of everything else. It tells us that our motivation has to come from within, that our ultimate purpose is supposed to be found in our job. I mean, is it any wonder so many of us feel completely burned out? That is an incredibly high bar to clear every single day. Okay, next, let's look inside our own heads. Because even when we do succeed at something, that feeling of accomplishment often just vanishes, right? The reason for that is all about our brain chemistry. Our reward systems are basically being hijacked. So we get this wrong all the time. We think dopamine is the pleasure chemical, the reward we get when we finally achieve something. But the neuroscience is really clear. Dopamine is actually the chemical of wanting, of pursuit. It's what motivates us to keep striving. It's not the satisfaction we feel when we get there. The dopamine spike is biggest during the chase, not at the finish line. And this leads us to what psychologists call the hedonic hamster wheel. We chase a goal, dopamine fuels that chase, we finally achieve it, and then our baseline for happiness just resets. The satisfaction is gone in a flash, and pretty soon, we're looking for the next thing to chase just to get that feeling of anticipation back. What used to feel good just doesn't cut it anymore. And of course, modern life just throws a huge wrench in the works. Our brains are constantly flooded with these cheap, easy dopamine hits from our devices. Those notifications, the endless scroll, these things trigger way more potent dopamine releases than subtle, real-world achievements like finishing a project or learning a new skill. Our brains get desensitized, and pretty soon actual accomplishments start to feel, well, neurologically underwhelming. All right, and that brings us to our third major force. Technology isn't just distracting us anymore. It's actively reshaping our sense of who we even are. We're starting to, in a way, outsource our own identity. I mean, really think about it. Who knows you best? Is it you? Or have you ever had that weird feeling that maybe Spotify knows you better? Or Netflix? Or Amazon? It's a strange thought, but it points to something really profound that's happening. See, the screen in your hand is no longer just a passive tool. It's an active participant in how you see yourself. These algorithms are constantly interpreting your behavior and then feeding a version of you back to you. And this happens in really concrete ways. Every year, Spotify Wrapped literally tells you who you are based on your music taste. Mood trackers tell you when you're likely to feel anxious. Even the predictive text on your phone nudges your conversations toward a more generic, pre-approved version of you. You end up in this crazy feedback loop, where the algorithm shows you a version of yourself, and then you, in turn, start to conform to it. And that's the real kicker of the algorithmic self. These systems aren't just passive mirrors reflecting who we are. They are active molds, shaping who we become. We start to delegate the work of self-reflection to machines, and our own inner world can become flatter, less interesting, and, well, less our own. So, an exhausting work culture, a hijacked brain, and an algorithmic self. Yeah, it's no wonder life can feel empty. But that emptiness? It's not a dead end. In fact, it might just be the starting point for building something much more real. This quote just reframes the whole problem so powerfully, doesn't it? That hollow feeling isn't a void that you have to frantically fill with more noise and distraction. It's a signal. It's a sign that your mind is ready for a different rhythm. It's the quiet space you need to actually hear yourself again. So how do we actually do that? Well, the research points to a few really clear paths. First, build real relationships. I mean, the data is overwhelming. Human connection is the #1 source of meaning. Second, clarify your values. Not what you think you should want, but what actually truly makes you feel alive. Third, train your attention. Practice being present. It's the only way to break that cycle of distraction. And finally, serve others. Contributing to something bigger than yourself is such a powerful antidote to this modern emptiness. When you boil it all down, all of these steps are about one core shift, moving from a life of autopilot reaction to a life of conscious intention. It's about choosing where your energy goes instead of letting the world just pull it from you. It means choosing depth over novelty and presence over speed. So if everything feels a little empty right now, maybe don't rush to fix it or drown it out. Maybe just sit with it. Let it slow you down. Because that emptiness, it's not the end of feeling. It might just be the return of clarity. And in that quiet, you get to decide what truly matters. The only question is, what will you choose to build in that space?